What's up, guys? Your boy L checking. I know you guys are looking at the title like, what in the heck are Brazilians liars? Obviously they're not, but there's two things on this list that make some people think they are. Stick around, you do not want to miss it. L checking, do it on YouTube, not a YouTuber. Alright guys, I put this list together of 10 things you need to come to Brazil to know about Brazilians. You ready? We're gonna get right into it. Number one, guys, Brazilians are extremely clean, like insanely clean. Now look, I'm learning Portuguese, so I had a good idea about this because during a lot of podcasts, they say this is like a big cultural difference between Americans and Brazilians. But I had no clue of the extent that it goes to. So look, if you know any Brazilian out here, you know Brazilians take showers 3 times a day or more. Like every time you turn around, you'll have a Brazilian friend telling you, hey, I'm about to go take a shower, or hey, I'm just getting out the shower, or hey, I'm thinking about taking a shower. It's that serious. They take a lot of showers. And look, if you live in places like Rio or Salvador, it makes a lot of sense because it's constantly hot and constantly sweating. And look, it does not end at showers. If you ever have a Brazil friend come over, you will get a lecture if you have something laying on the bed, something on the kitchen counter that's not supposed to be there, something out of order. You will get a lecture about this. They will tell you, why is this here? Why isn't this hung up? Why is this messy? They do not like this at all. Guys, number 2, Brazilians love live music. And when I say love live music, they love live music. I've seen things in Brazil I've never seen anywhere else. Guys, check out somebody's page who is from Brazil, right? Go through some of the posts, look at stuff. You'll see a lot of the music they put on their tags and their stories, all that stuff has live music. So a lot of times you'll see titles like this where it'll say Ludmilla ao vivo, which is live. So Brazilians prefer the live version of music over the recorded version, and a lot of them will put that on posts and tags and everything instead of the original recorded version. It's actually crazy. And if you come to Brazil, you'll know why. Live music is everywhere. Pagode, samba, everywhere. It's ingrained in the culture. So people really love the live sound of instruments, the live crowd reaction, and the live energy. Alright guys, number 3, teeth. Teeth is insanely important in Brazil. One of the first things Brazilians look at is your teeth. And if you come to Brazil, you'll understand why. Dentists here must be rich. I have Brazilian friends. Every week, what are you doing? I'm going to the dentist. Okay, after the dentist, I'm going to the dentist again. They go to the dentist a lot here. You will not see too many Brazilians with jacked up teeth. It's not a part of the culture. They love their teeth. It's super important. I believe it starts at a very young age. You know, in elementary school, middle school, they make sure they have braces. They make sure they have their teeth straight. They make sure they have their teeth whitened. And they keep that custom going and going and going into adulthood. So it's a super good custom they have here. Unlike Americans, a lot has changed, but back in my day, we really started worrying about teeth in like high school. I know a lot of the elementary students now are getting it way earlier, but big difference. And one of the primary reasons is dental prices in Brazil are astronomically more affordable. Also, the insurance here for dental procedures and the issues is way different than the US, covers way more things, and it's emphasized more in early ages. Alright guys, number 4, the Big Bang. See, I'm not like those other YouTubers who gonna save the reason you came here for number 9 and 10. Now, I'm not gonna do that. So we're gonna get into the first point, why some people think Brazilians are liars. And another huge difference, probably for me the biggest difference between Brazilian culture and American culture, and that's Brazilians do not like to directly say no to invitations. So if you meet a Brazilian, you talk to them, they will tell you, hey, yeah, I can meet at this time. Hey, yeah, we should go out. Hey, yeah, I'm gonna do this. Hey, yeah, we could go here. But the truth is, they may just not want to tell you no to your face because it's looked at as very rude, and they don't like to do it. So a lot of times you'll hear, oh, sure, we could do it. Okay, yeah. It won't be a convincing yes, and most Brazilians know when you don't get a yes, and even maybe when you do get a yes, it still may turn out that they're not coming. But culturally, they understand each other, and culturally, they know when, all right, this person probably won't show up. As Americans, when they say, oh, sure, we could do this, we think, all right, this person's going to be there. But in reality, they just didn't want to tell you no to your face. Americans tend to be one of the most direct speakers in the world. There's a lot of studies on this, a lot of cultures who don't like to directly reject people to their face, and ones who do, and America is up there. I'm not going to harp on this a lot, guys, because I got to make this video kind of short, but I will say it goes to the extent that there's even kind of a phrase in Brazil that doesn't translate well to English, and it's pode ser, and that means it could be, and they use that a lot. Pode ser, it could be, which can mean yes, but of course, could mean no, because it could be. Like, is it yes or is it not? And a lot of Brazilians, when you talk to them, they'll say sure. I think that's the best way to translate it in English is sure. And I've gotten that a lot of times, like, hey, can we go here? Sure. And what they really want to say is pode ser. Alright guys, number 5, and this could basically be seen as a payment plan. It's getting a little more popular now in the States with like Klarna, or I think Afterpay, stuff like that. But here, when you come to Brazil, you'll hear a lot of Brazilians and you'll see a lot of stores talking about parcels. And that's basically a payment plan. It's an opportunity to pay things payment by payment. And this could go up to 8 to 12 times if I'm correct. And it is extremely popular here. I don't know many Brazilians who pay for things like American 100%. Most Brazilians pay things with parcels or in this payment plan program, and it's ingrained in the whole system here. Flights have the option. When you go to stores, they have the options. Credit cards have this option. It's just what it is. If you live in Brazil, you will definitely hear about this parcel system that they have here, and everybody does it. You may get asked about this. I've had people from Brazil ask me to bring them things from the US, and they'll pay me in parcels, or they asked me to pay in parcels and stuff like that. And it took a long time for me to understand what the heck they were talking about until I finally realized, oh, okay, a parcel of 8 is you'll have 8 payments to fully pay this thing off. Alright guys, forgive me, we're gonna be moving extremely fast because my camera is not gonna hold up that much longer. Number 6. Alright, number 6 guys, check this out. This one is extremely important. Brazilians are extremely more affectionate than other countries, and 100 times more affectionate than the US. And I say this not because I've been here and I've been having super deep conversations with people, but I have noticed through TV shows, through being here, that Brazilians are more affectionate, more open, and particularly in male culture. I've seen a lot of Brazilian men not afraid to cry, with the freedom to show their emotions, wear their emotions on the sleeves, and not be judged for it. I've seen a lot of physical touching between friends, family, between men that I have never seen in the US. If you watch any show on Netflix, like I said, I'm trying to learn Portuguese. I watch a lot of Brazilian shows, and you'll see all the time men crying, men touching, like a father touching his son's leg. Just signs of emotion, signs of endearment that we just don't have in the US. That if in the US, you'll probably get misjudged, or some silliness will come up. So it's just not a part of the culture, and I think that's kind of crazy. All right, guys, number 7, and this one goes back to the other point about, you know, what's rude here is not rude there. And I can tell you, Brazilians will ruin some shows for you. So stay cautious if you ask a Brazilian about a show. For example, I asked a friend, hey, did you see this show? And they'll say, yeah, I got mad because this person married this person in the end. And you're like, seriously, dude? But it's because of the cultural difference. I guess in Brazil, it's not rude to tell somebody how something ends or what happens. And in America, it's very rude, and people will get extremely mad because I was extremely mad. Guys, number 8, and I find this one to be pretty cool, to be honest. Brazilians have a very rebellious nature. What do you mean by that? Well, it's hard to explain, but I'll give you 2 examples. Alright, so guys, when I came into the country this time, I was online, right? And there was just one line. And if you travel, you guys know it's usually a citizen line and a foreigner line. For whatever reason, the immigration guy told everybody to go on the foreigner line. But as the line started getting longer, another immigration agent told citizens to go this way. Well, obviously there were citizens on the immigration line, so they seen the other citizens getting in faster. Oh my goodness, they gave that immigration officer who told him to get on the foreign line a butt whooping. You know, they asked him, why did you tell us to get on this line? Now we're late, now we're taking longer, all of this stuff. And it was a really, like, you know, kind of, you shouldn't have done that. So that was a very interesting situation. All right, guys, example number 2. So it was a flight coming back to the US from Brazil, so there were a lot of Brazilians on it. And of course, the flight got delayed. The Brazilians came together And I know they were Brazilian because they were speaking Portuguese, and they just put this big in the arms together. They all started going crazy, all started giving the flight attendants a butt whooping, which was really for the airline, of course. But it just shows that, they have a rallying spirit. They have a spirit of, speaking on stuff when it's not right. And that makes a lot of sense when you look at Brazilian politics. They're very passionate when it comes to certain issues. So it was just something I find interesting. All right, guys, number 9 and the second piece to the Are Brazilians Liars title is Brazilians are known to be late. So if you tell a Brazilian to come at one time, do not expect them to be on time. And of course, let me clarify, because there's some people out there who are really not in their right mind. They think I'm talking about every single Brazilian who have ever existed, who ever lived in Brazil. No, this is a generalization, which means it is a general thing. It is not every single one. But I have had multiple experiences where I've told a Brazilian person to meet me at this time, this place, and they end up showing not an hour late, but multiple hours late. And, it's just better to understand that they tell you a time, it may be a rough estimate. And I know my people back home are thinking, hey, we do that too, and it's true. But just so you know, when you come out here, you will get that. And you could think, hey, Brazilians are liars because every time I tell them to come at 5 p.m., they show up at 7 p.m. But it's just a cultural difference, so don't do that. All right, guys, last but not least, and I have to tread very lightly on this one because I know there's some people out here who are going to get mad at me. And look, I've seen videos like this, not in this specific format, but differences between cultures. And there's some stuff I get mad at too. Like, hey, that's not Americans. Don't say that. But I got to say it because I'm out checking and I want my viewers to know. So just so you know, guys, number 10 are Brazilians may take some time to warm up to new ideas. What do I mean by that? So I'll give you an example. Brazil has their own culture, amazing, and they run and play and jump to their own tune, and they're very into their stuff. But sometimes as Americans, when we come here, some of the stuff we do is ridiculous. Let's be honest. Some of it is just off the wall, and some Brazilians do not understand why we do it. We do, of course, because we grew up in one place and they grew up in another, but some of them don't understand why, and you may get a lot of pushback or you may get a lot of questions. For me, I understand because I travel a lot and I just try to educate, For example, sometimes I'll meet a Brazilian and we'll go out and they'll ask me if I want to eat pork or something, and I'll be like, no, I don't want to eat pork today. And they'll ask me why, because pork is a staple, not just in Brazil but in Latin America. And I'll explain, hey, I think this about pork, or blah blah blah. And I'll be like, well, that's not true, or oh, I don't think that. And look, everywhere is different, but you got to remember, in the US we have different mentality about food, about different things. So it's not as let's say, it's not an emphasis placed on those things as such in the US. Even if you could go to India, a lot of Indians don't eat beef. But if you come to the US, you have no clue because there's not that stigma on beef in the US as there is in India, and vice versa. There's not a stigma in Latin America on pork as there is in the US. So just things like that, you may find yourself explaining a lot of cultural differences and trying to educate them. But just so you know, all right, that's 10 things. You need to come here. Come to Brazil. You got to come here to really understand what I'm talking about. I just want to give you guys a heads up if you haven't been here, or if you have been here and you've been trying to figure out what in the heck is going on here. Yeah, that's my perspective on it. It's out checking. It's the dude on YouTube that's not a YouTuber that jumps on YouTube and give you YouTube videos, but he is not a YouTuber. Stay tuned. It's going to be a great time.
Guys, I want to take a minute to circle back on this point because while I'm editing, I'm realizing I didn't drive home the point that I wanted to get in. I'm guessing that I was just super fatigued. This point being the last one, and my camera was all going haywire, so I was kind of rushing. But yeah, I kind of wanted to explain this point a little bit more because I think it's important. What I really wanted to say is that Brazilians can be a little bit compared to other countries I've gone to, a little bit more closed-minded and a little bit more judgmental of things that they are not used to seeing or experiencing. So, that's something that can be hard to adjust to and can catch you off guard. So I just wanted you guys to keep an eye out for that because definitely caught me off guard. And just to circle back on the pork point, right? So when that conversation was going on, I just generally don't eat pork just because of I don't like the the things I've read about it as far as health. Um, but I was with a friend of mine who is Muslim Islamic. So we mentioned that. Well, he mentioned that. I said I just don't eat it like that. He mentioned that, and they didn't understand at first, and then we kind of got him to understand. I guess he put it in the translator, and they were like, "Oh, boom!" Like they started making bomb sounds, right? They just didn't understand. Like they just didn't get it. Um, and it makes sense if you're in like in a country where there's not a lot of people who practice that faith. That all you see is and all you hear about on the media is people from that faith blowing stuff up and being in war and all this stuff and 9/11, right? So that's just something to keep in mind, that when you have these conversations or when you meet Brazilians, they may not be as open to ideas that are accustomed to you. Um, so it's good to go in there and just have patience. And like I said, try to educate, because after they made that comment, of course, we try to educate, like, no, not all Muslims do that, so forth and so on. And at the end of it, they were like, oh, okay, we get it. And I find myself having those conversations quite a bit, more than in other countries, for sure. What's up, guys? If you like the shirt you see me wearing in this video or any of my other videos, check out the description box below to get yours.